All right, let's have a talk about my favorite moving average, which isn't a regular EMA or even an SMA. It is the VWAP, the volume weighted moving average. And one of my favorite things about the VWAP is I like to move around on a lot of different time frames, even throughout the day for intraday trading. I always start out with the daily and the hourly for my analysis, but when I'm actually executing my day trades, I'm usually on the 5-minute, but I'll jump around to the 15 and the 30 or even down to the 1 or 2 on occasion. And one of my favorite things about the VWAP is it's always there. It's always the same no matter what time frame you are. Even though the VWAP is old reliable in that way, I always get a lot of different questions on the settings that I use and also just how I use it in general. So let me show you. And I'm going to show you on TradingView, but I also have it on NinjaTrader. So I'll kind of show you that towards the end. It's a little bit different over there. It's very simple at TradingView. And I'll go ahead and show you the indicators that I'm using. And real quick, before we get too deep into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe so that I can help this video get to other traders just like you, because all of this is free. Plus, I have giveaways all the time that I'm hosting here and on my website at bullbarbie.com. So back to VWAP. So if you literally just type in VWAP, you'll get the volume weighted average price, and you can click on that there. And you can see that added all this stuff to my chart, and the one that I just showed you doesn't have any of that on there. So I'll show you what the difference is. When you first add this, if we go into settings, you'll see all of these settings. You can leave this alone. I don't mess with any of this. I will let it hide on higher time frames sometimes, like the daily, but really you can just leave all of this alone. The calculation mode, I literally leave on standard. And then I literally don't mess with any of this stuff. I leave the time frame to the chart, wait for time frame to close. This is all the default settings. And then this is where I change things. I don't like having the band fill on. I think that this is distracting for me personally. Maybe it isn't for you, but for me it is. So I take that off. And then I don't really mess with the bands. I know there's a lot of strategies that use the VWAP bands, and I don't have those in my playbook, so I take those off. And then the only other thing that I do is, because I have some other indicators that use different colors, and I like to be able to kind of keep everything color coded, I just keep the VWAP on a white color because that keeps everything really, really simple for me. So those are the settings that I use to make this VWAP. Now the VWAP is going to start at the open. So that's what I have it set to. It's set to the session. It'll always start, actually it's this blue line right here. I was pointing at the wrong one, but this is the line on my chart that is showing the settlement, the close. So we have the extended trading hours there, the close, and then the pre-market hours that run all night on the ES futures. And that's what you're seeing here. Now, sometimes I really just care about what's happening during the day, and I just want to see the VWAP during the day. And I will tell you that both the regular VWAP and the intraday VWAP are definitely being used by some of the big hedge funds and the big institutions, and probably even just some of the big players. They're using those both the VWAP and the intraday VWAP in their algorithms, and I can tell because price interacts with it really, really well. Sometimes it'll kind of pick one, and sometimes it'll use both. So I'll show you kind of another example. Today's really choppy, so they're just kind of married to each other today, and it's not always like that. But what I do is I just add another indicator, and the one that I'm using, just because it's a little bit easier to set the settings, I'm using this indicator here. So I'll show you how to find it. Look for this little typo. So what I look for is, where's my indicators? VWAP, open, session. And that's it right there, by Hempe. That's probably not how you say that, but that's the one that I'm using. There might be some other ones that do this. This just happens to be the one that I'm looking at. So on this one, I leave all of this alone. The thing that I care about is when the sessions actually start, because you can see right now by default, it's starting this at 10:30, which is past when the market's open. It's this green line right here. I don't use all three of these. I turn off night and evening. I don't really know what that's about. I don't really care. But what I care about is the morning session when the New York opens. I'm in Central Time, so that's 8:30 instead of 9:30, which it'll be for a lot of you. And then there it is. I can change this time down to when the market closes, which is 13. No, what am I talking about? It's 15:30 my time. And then that'll run all day. And again, just because I have a lot of different colors that end up going on my charts, I make this one white, but I want it to look different than the other one. So, I could just leave it thicker like this. I actually kind of like this right now. But what I normally do is I come in just to the morning session VWAP here, and I make it into circles. And you can also play with these and see if you like it in a different way. Most of these won't really work well on this chart, but you could use crosses. But yeah, I just keep it on circles. And so that's my setting for this second VWAP that you see on my charts a lot. Okay, I mentioned I have this on NinjaTrader as well, so I just want to bring this up real quick, and then we'll get back to looking at the VWAP on TradingView. But you do need the order flow suite to use the VWAP that I have, and you either get that by paying a monthly data fee or by having the lifetime NinjaTrader license. And what that gets you is this whole set of order flow tools. It'll come with footprint and all kinds of stuff. But what I'm using is the order flow VWAP. And here's the settings for my regular VWAP that's anchored to the full session. And if you want to change that, you go into trading hours and you find the session that you want to trade on. So I would have to scroll all the way down. Where is it? There we go. US regular trading hours, index futures. And then when you hit apply on that, you can see that my VWAP, and it's this line that changes color, has just started when the New York session opened, and it hasn't been going for the full trading session. So back to TradingView, let's close this so I can go back and look at some other days and kind of see how the price reacts with it. So when we're chopping around, a lot of times the VWAP will be in the middle of price action, and then when we're trending, we're going to be moving away from it. So you can see that's happening right now to the low side, and then we moved away to the high side before, but it's always kind of a good median to have on your charts. And some days we will get some really, really beautiful trends off of it, but a lot of the time it will really start at VWAP. So I like to take trades, especially in the morning session, and this one's kind of a good example here. We'll get just like a beautiful trend that starts developing, and you can see we get, of course, this morning rush of volume in. But then when we start having this breakout, it initiates at the VWAP and we have volume increasing, and it ends up being a really, really great trade. So you can kind of pair this with any sort of trading strategy you have, especially, support and resistance, and even some other EMAs or volume profile, whatever you want to pair this with. You can end up with some other confluence levels here that make this a really, really powerful tool to pair with everything. And then sometimes you'll end up where every single tap, it just keeps rejecting and keeps rejecting and keeps rejecting until it doesn't, but you'll get a lot of good hits on it. See if we can end up finding one of those days here. But you can see this day, you can see this was really choppy. Price didn't really make any progress. It was just kind of chopping within the previous day until it finally made a move away from VWAP to go test resistance. So it's a really good tool to help you kind of see trend. Obviously, that's what a lot of these moving averages will help you see, but it also kind of help you see how far we've pushed away. So right now you can see this is very, very extended away from VWAP, and that's one way that you can look at things. So the farther away you get, the more we're likely to have a big snapback reaction like this. I also like to kind of look at the angle. So the stronger, the steeper this angle, the stronger the trend. So you can get an indication that this trend is kind of fading out. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. This angle is really, really strong, and as it starts to fade, you can see it on the price action charts too, but this will kind of help you see this angle. If you need another little way to look at it, the flatter this line is the more flat price is, and then the more vertical this line is, the more strong the trend is. So I love VWAP just because it's so simple. Here's one of those days where it was just the perfect little rejection area. So even if you missed this first little breakout, we got another retest, made a little move there, another retest, made a move there, just over and over and over. A lot of these trends tend to fall apart in the afternoon, so I can't get mad at it there. You can see it's just a very, very supportive indicator, both during trading hours and outside of trading hours. I was trying to find some good examples. Sometimes we get where the price is like this. This is a decent one here. They're kind of married here, and that's just showing, yes, we're very clearly in agreement. Sometimes you'll get some kind of space between where one of them will react more strongly. And this is always kind of interesting to me. The way I look at this is I trade ES futures. I also trade SPX options, and SPX doesn't have all of this pre-market data, but it does have the regular trading hours data. And so this is kind of like watching the VWAP on SPX, which a lot of the algos are doing and a lot of the big funds are doing as well. So if you think about it, if you have a big player that's watching SPX, but you're trading ES and they track each other really, really well, and they're watching VWAP, and that's the program that they're running today is to keep selling VWAP, that's what that ends up looking like on the charts. And so a lot of trading is about recognizing these patterns like this. And it's also something that I end up using in the automated strategies that I'm working on because I can get a lot of trend confirmation. I can calculate, distances like this, how many percentages away from VWAP we are, and things like that. So that's why it ends up being kind of one of my favorite tools. And there's my settings and how I use it. So be sure to like and subscribe and do all of the things. I have giveaways coming at bullbarbie.com for those of you who stuck with me this whole time. And that includes prop accounts and subscriptions and all kinds of fun things. So I will see you there. Love you. Bye.